Welcome back to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast, the place where poetry meets conversation. I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and before we get into today's topic, make sure you hit that plus sign so you don't miss an episode. Also, please subscribe to my blog, thebrownssugarcafe.blog, and if you find any value in this episode or any other episodes, make sure you leave a heartfelt review. So with that being said, let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast. I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that you all are taking care of yourselves. It's the holiday season, and this time can be rough for a lot of people, especially dealing with recent losses that we've had, personal and non-personal. And even if you haven't lost a loved one recently, the holidays are usually the time when we're missing those people who aren't with us anymore. And we could find ourselves, I would say, slipping into some sort of not necessarily sadness, but just a feeling of mourning and missing that person, a sense of grieving. And it may be functional grieving, it may be non functional grieving. But I wanted to have this episode to spread some joy. About a week ago, I was asked to read some poems at an event. Taylor Simon from Liberation is Lit reached out to me and asked me to read some poems. I was very excited, ready to read, and due to some unforeseen circumstances, I was not able to attend. So I thought about it. I picked these poems because of the time of year and with things going on as far as like the election. That's a whole thing in itself with people disagreeing, going back and forth. Some people even bickering with family members as far as who they decided to vote for and just all of that stuff. So, and of course, like I said earlier, the holidays, I wanted to spread some joy. And so, since I wasn't able to read these poems, I decided, since it's actually been a while since I read a poem on the podcast, is I would share these poems here. And hopefully they will spread some joy into your life. And maybe if you like them, maybe not, you could still share them with somebody. Maybe they'll help spread some joy in their lives. But I want you all to remember to take care of yourselves all the time, but especially during the holiday season. Don't get caught up into trying to buy everybody a gift. If you know you can't afford it, it's quite all right. Just let the people know. There's nothing wrong with that. You'd rather let the people know that you can't get them everything they want than to have all these behind bills and things once the new year comes in. Also, take some time for some self-care. I had a very good meeting at work the other day, and the lady from the wellness area, she said that we should start prioritizing some breaks during our work and put them on our calendar. We have everything else on our calendar, meetings and things like that, but we need to put us on our calendars, even if it's 5-10 minutes there, but we need to have those micro breaks to reset and refocus. So make sure that you're prioritizing some time for yourself. Make sure you put that on your calendar and do some things that are for your self-care. Find something you love, find something that brings you enjoyment, find something that brings you joy, and make sure that you're doing that. Make sure you're prioritizing time to do so. We pour out so much to other people, and I've said this a lot of times on this podcast, but rarely do we think about filling up our own cup so that we can pour out to other people. So make some time for yourself. Talked about this time last year in another episode. When it comes to our workloads, try to find somebody who you can delegate those things to, whether it's cleaning, cooking. You may have to hire someone to do these things. That's a good idea for a Christmas gift. Maybe you can ask somebody to give you a gift card to your favorite restaurant, a gift card to a cleaning service, something where it takes the load off of you, something to where you could find time to relax and enjoy things that you like to do. We get so busy and so caught up with work and our families and making sure they're good that we rarely stop to check to make sure we're good. So prioritize that, especially during the holiday season. Don't wait until the beginning of the year. Putting it off is just setting you up for failure. Just start now. I know we like to use like the beginning of the week, we like to use the beginning of the month, the beginning of the year to start things. But if it's today, you're listening to this on a Thursday, start now. Don't wait until that Monday to start things. Start it now. If it's Friday, start now. If you have certain health goals, certain personal goals, start them right now. Make that a priority. Put that in your calendar. Make a reminder to start. If you can't start right now, start today. Just make sure that it's done. And just going to read these poems here. One poem that I put in my blog. I don't remember when I published it. I probably should have put that in there first. But hey, this poem is called A Poem to Change the World. If I could write a poem to change the world, I would start by pointing out all of the good that already exists. How kindness isn't a thing of the past. People are still looking out for each other without looking for something in return. There's still comfort in casual conversations without expectations. If I could write a poem to change the world, I would fill it with freedom. People are still enjoying the things they like to do, whether it's popular or not, whether their peers find it cool or not, whether it gets views or not. Some of the most enjoyable times are the ones we didn't capture with the picture because instead, the moment captured our hearts. If I could write a poem to change the world, I would fill it with love. There are still people who believe in love, even those who are still searching and hopeful that they will experience love for themselves, without pain, without suffering, without abuse, the way it was intended to be. If I could write a poem to change the world, I would fill it with hope. Examples of how some of us almost gave up, but we kept going and it was worth it. How pausing may be necessary, but stopping is never an option. There's still someone believing in themselves and someone believing in us. If I could write a poem to change the world, the title would be You. And this next poem that I was going to read is Undimmable Light. Quieting our voices smothers that fire that burns in our hearts. Embers that whisper to our souls become clouds of thick smoke, choking out our dreams and smothering our hope. Speak life. Breathe life. Use your voice to pass the torch to the uninspired and the unsure. Confidence is never allowing our light to be dimmed by us or anyone else. This next one is called Noise. Silence has a way of amplifying the sound of our thoughts. The slow, steady drips of what to wear tomorrow, lunch options for today, dinner choices for the week, and weekend plans become waterfalls crashing against the rocks of doubt. Needing to work out more consistently, career options, life options, finding out our life's purpose and how we fit into the world. The only escape from the noise is understanding when to paddle with the current and knowing when to swim against it. And this other poem is another one I took from the blog. All of these are poems that I took from the blog. My intention was to read these poems and then also read some from my book. So this last one that I pulled from the blog is called Optimistic. When it comes to the glass being half empty or half full, optimism is really about perspective. Half empty disappointments that have seemed to fill our lives. One step forward and two steps back. But the next time we made three steps forward. Half full of our potential, the things we dreamed about becoming reality. The things we prayed for coming to fruition. Living life and not just existing in it. If we changed our perspective, how much more could we achieve? What would the glass look like if we dared to believe? Would we keep holding on to the perspective or see the emergency and break the glass? And that was it for those poems. And then I was going to read some poems from my latest book, Pain is Not Our Only Paintbrush. If you haven't got a copy of this book yet, get you a copy. I thought about doing a giveaway, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. Should I do a giveaway? All right. This poem here is found on page 90 and it's called A Poem for Tomorrow Today. Take this with you just in case. Joy is an endless journey that you decided to take. Gratitude is a promise you decided to make. Take this with you just in case. Life is full of lessons, so we learn to take the bad with the good. You've made it this far. You were never a failure, just sometimes misunderstood. Take this with you just in case. Embrace all of life's challenges. They're beautiful as a collective, like a beautiful bouquet. This is a poem for tomorrow, but take it with you today. Take this with you just in case. And then there was another one. This next and last poem is Abundance. There's an abundance of joy. I'm reminded of that every day that I wake up. Thankful to see another day, thankful for new mercies, whether it's Monday or Saturday. I'm grateful for this privilege of life. There's an abundance of grace, not just for others, but for ourselves too. Sometimes we make mistakes and lose our way, but we find our way back. Sometimes we stumble, but we get up and we try again. There's an abundance of love. As harsh as the world seems, there's a lot of love to give. There's a lot of love to receive, and there's a whole lot of love to go around. But we must be willing to give it so we may receive it. There's an abundance of everything we need. Sometimes we're moving too fast to notice. Sometimes we just need to pause and appreciate what's all around us. Sometimes all we have to do is be still and be in the moment. So, those were just a few poems that I was going to read at the event. So, I decided to do a solo episode and share this with you all. So, I hope that these poems help you if you're dealing with something. I hope that something in these poems speaks to you and brings some joy and happiness to your life. Even if it's not for yourself, I hope that something in these poems you can pass along to somebody else. And take care of yourselves. If you can't do it by yourself, reach out to somebody and let them know. If you're going through something, reach out to somebody and let them know. I've said this before, you can even reach out to me. If it's a matter that's very serious, then you may have to seek professional help, and that's perfectly fine. But do what you need to do to take care of yourself, because we want you around. We want you to be here, and we want you to be the best version of yourself. And remember, as always, keep pushing forward. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and this is the place where poetry meets conversation. Hit that follow button and turn on your notifications so you won't miss an episode. Check out my blog, thebrownsugarcafe.blog. Also connect with me on Instagram at thebrownsugarcafe. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, remember, keep pushing forward.